Hello everyone, I hope that you're all doing very well. My name is Pirouzi, and today we are going to look into chapter number 12, distributing and promoting products and services. Okay, what are the learning outcomes for today's lecture? First of all, please read chapter 12 of the book, as well as the distributed PowerPoint presentations. Here I'm going to go over the learning outcomes, and I'm going to give you a lecture just as a type of additional information and supplementary, I would say, a lecture in order to get much more, I would say, into details, just to be able to understand better the content of the book chapter. Okay, so first of all, we're going to look into what is the nature and function of distribution. So the place, then what is wholesaling and what are the types of wholesalers. Then we'll go over what are the different kinds of retail operations. Then how can supply chain management increase efficiency and customer satisfaction? Then what is promotion? What are the key elements of a promotional mix? A promotional mix, a set of tools that we use in the promotion. Then how are advertising media selected? Then what is a personal selling? We are going to look into the different steps of sales. Then what are the goals of a sales promotion and what are several types of sales promotion? Then point number 9, how does public relation fit into the promotional mix? Then we will go over what is social media and how has it changed promotion, and at the end, what is e-commerce and how does it affect the promotion? So what is the nature and function of distribution and a place? Here we are looking into an example where we do have a supplier of CDs, compact discs, and they are buying, again, raw materials in order to prepare those compact discs. So we do have a factory, and this is going to create, of course, compact discs. Then we are going to send from the factory those compact discs to a wholesaler or distribution center. This means that these are places where we are going to the storage, and it's not just in one country, it may be in different cities, different countries, different continents, of course, and those wholesalers are usually selling the product at a lower cost. And of course, later on, we'll see that if we compare, for example, if we can buy something from a wholesaler or a distributor, obviously it's going to be less expensive than buying from a retailer. However, with retailers, usually they do have contracts with wholesalers, so that wholesalers do not usually sell. They do have contracts with retailers, and these are retailers who are going to, first of all, they can be used as distribution centers, but also distribution centers to consumers. So this is how we are going to, again, look into this dynamics. Now let us drill down by looking into the channels of distribution for B2B, standing for business to business and consumer products. Okay, so here, without even looking into this picture, you know very well that we do have different ways to sell it nowadays. Of course, things are changed depending again on the existing contracts in between wholesalers, distributors and retailers. Some wholesalers, they sell directly to consumers. Some distributors also, they sell directly to consumers. If not, those wholesalers and distributors will sell the products to retail stores, and then those retail stores are going to reach customers. So now if you look back into this graph, you will see that you do have consumer products channels and you do have industrial products channels. So for the consumer products channels, you have the manufacturer or the farmer or any service company that is going to send or again allow their agents, their brokers or retailers or wholesalers to get the product and then to send it to the consumers, of course, and this is the way that of course we can reach those consumers. Then we can also look into the industrial products channels, where we can look into the first line where we are dealing with manufacturers. Now manufacturers may send the product to industrial user. they can, as a raw material. They can also send it to agents and brokers. Those brokers and agents are going to have the exclusive right sometimes to be able to sell the product in a specific area or region or city, country, or a continent. And we do have manufacturers that will send their products to industrial distributors, and then they will send them to industrial users. Now again, these may be raw materials as well. Okay, now here I don't want to make it more complex or too complex, but we're just looking at an example of publishers who are going to sell their products to students. So we have two case scenarios. We may have those again publishers connecting directly with students, or they may again deal with a bookstore, and then the bookstore will be able just to get or buy through the business to business format or type, buy the books from the publishers, and then students could go to the bookstore in order to buy their books. Okay, so now number two, what is wholesaling and what are the types of wholesalers? As I told you, wholesaling means that we are going to sell a bigger quantity of a product or a service. In this case, obviously, since we are going to sell more, we will need to give some incentives to our clients, and this is why we usually give a price which is lower than the price that you may find on the market. Even we go, I would say, up to even writing a price of a product on a box. For example, this product the cost is $20, but when you buy that from the wholesaler, you don't buy that for $20. You may buy that for $5, for example, or $10, and then this the distributor, and of course through the distributor or the wholesaler, the manufacturer may have some plan, some strategic plan in order to adjust the cost, and of course for making sure that the cost of their product is not going to be more than what they would like to, because this is also part of their marketing strategy, for example, to be more affordable. So you may find, for example, some say perfumes, for example. You may buy them at $20, $30 each, even less, depending on again the volume that you buy, and then you will be able to sell them in your store at $100. That's because you did buy in a wholesale. So here, of course, we can look into department store. I'm talking about the type of a type of in-store retailing. We can talk about convenience stores, supermarkets, discount stores, off-price retailers, and factory outlets. And of course, you do have the description in the middle of this table, and you do have also some examples of those wholesaling. Okay, then let's look into retailing tasks that, again, that may be in different forms. For example, we have catalog stores like IKEA. So they send catalog to customers and displays that display merchandise. Of course, IKEA does still send the catalogs in different countries, but nowadays, I think for the last 2 or 3 days in Canada, we don't have a IKEA catalog in paper, but this is mainly on their e-commerce site, and again, it's available online. We can also look into types of non-store retailing, and here we can talk about vending machines. We have a lot, for example, if you look at Japan, for example, wherever you go, you do have so many types of vending machines. You can buy, again, a meal, hot meal, cold meal. You can buy, again, so many different, I would say the diversity is so much that I can't even imagine. I invite you to look into some YouTube movies, for example, about Japan and about the distributors or vending machines that we can find in Japan, mainly, of course, in the Eastern countries. This is amazing to look into the variety of the products that they are selling in the vending machine. Of course, it does have, I mean, this type of selling or retailing does have also its own, I would say, benefits and advantages. And of course, also for marketing as well. It means that it allows those manufacturing, I would say, those manufacturers to be everywhere, and you know what, be available at any time, 24 hours a day, in different places with different conditions. There's no more strike, for example. There's no more bad weather. All of these vending machines are working and people are buying. So this is really direct from producer to customers. It's a very, very interesting, I would say, strategy. Then we have also direct selling. These are sales face to face, usually in the person's home. So here again, this is another strategy. It may not be again the case everywhere. I would like to ask you, of course, to think about the fact that depending on your market segments and of course on the culture of the consumers, as we saw in previous lectures, we may have different our settings. So sometimes vending machines are perfect. This is a perfect strategy for the promotion, for the availability, for the cost, because you don't need to have stores anymore, so the cost will be lower. You have no more issues with, for example, workers. That's because there are just few workers who are going just to fill out those machines. But direct selling is different. Here you need to have salespeople. You have to train them. You have to, of course, bring them to the market, and of course, counting on their own strategies in order to be able to reach customers. For example, going into a person's home is not very easy. However, we do have that type of sales as well. We have companies, for example, they get some gathering and then they sell again their product to different people, and they say if you buy that from us, it's going to be 20-25% because these are wholesalers, and then they will send again those products to I would say to their agents, and those agents are going to sell those products at $30-35. So they are going to make some profit. So here everyone is going to get a profit, and usually those people, they may now have no friends, so they may go to different gatherings, to different parties, to different again I would say friends' homes, talking with other friends as well. And this is one way that we can say, we call that direct selling. Then we have direct response marketing. These are attempts to get immediate customer sales through media advertising, catalogs, pop-up ads, or direct mail. So again here, again we can talk about of course, again, there are so many different other, I would say, firms that use that strategy as well. But again, as I told you, if some of you may not even have seen this type of selling, this is okay. That's because, again, you were not part of the market segment, or you were not in the country where, based on the culture and, of course, based on the habits of the population, we already did build our marketing strategy. So it's normal that you may not have seen all of these types of retailing. Then we have home shopping networks, so selling via cable TV. For those who nowadays you may not see that often. We may have few of these cable TVs where people, they were still watching the TV. Not everyone now has TV. You know, many people, they are now having YouTube, or you're using internet. But at that time, I would say 30 years ago, everyone had a TV, of course, many people. And those who were watching TV, they were also able to look into some channels where they were promoting their products, giving some coupons, again making some demonstrations, saying, for example, that now there's only 10 left, so you can buy them at half a price, or buy this product XYZ, and then we are going to give you 2 months guarantee plus another gift, etc., etc. And of course, if you're not happy, you can always pay that. I mean, you're going to send it back to us, and we are going to refund you fully. So this is what was happening as well. Then we also have internet retailing. We call that e-retailing. So electronic retailing. This is selling on or over the internet. And of course, we're going to look into internet in the next few slides in detail. Okay, so now learning outcome number 3. What are the different kinds of retail operation? So we do have 2 types. We have store-based retailing, and we have non-store retailing. We're already talking about, for example, vending machines. They are part of the non-store retailing. So here I'm going to just start with non-store retailing on the again right side of this picture. So we have direct selling, TV shopping. So we talk about those different channels that we had many years ago. Automated vending kiosks. And of course, I gave you example of different countries. We also have vending machines here as well. We do have almost, I would say, everywhere. But again, it depends on the market segments, and again how people are buying, or their buying habits. And of course, e-tailing, also known as the click and mortar model. This is electronic retailing. Now I'm going to look into the left side of this picture where we are looking into store-based retailing. So first of all, we have form of ownership and we have merchandise offered. So for the form of ownership, we can look into independent retailers or independent businesses. We can look into chain of retailers like Indigo, like McDonald's, for example. And we can, McDonald's, I would say this is a franchise. And of course, we have franchise stores like McDonald's. So an independent retailer may now have a chain of, again, a chain. In this case, you're going to have the same name, the same retailer in different cities. And then you may see that that retailer is now going to use its name as a franchise and then to use, again, I would say to make a franchise, meaning that now anyone else who would like to open a store under, and of course with the standards, with the name, with the logo, with everything coming from all of the marketing mix coming from the very, very first independent retailer, for example, they have to pay, again, some amount of money, and like Tim Hortons, for example, like McDonald's, and they will be able, of course, to use the same logo, the same reputation of the company. And of course, for the food, for example, when you are buying, again, also selling McDonald's, you have to buy all of your products from McDonald's as well. So here you can set in advance some restrictions. And again, this is not for controlling everyone, but this is for controlling the marketing strategies. It's also for controlling the reputation of a corporation. So when you buy a franchise, you have to follow the rules that are dictated to us. And again, we sign that on a contract with the franchise as well before starting. But again, the franchise is going to do the advertisement. You're going to, again, make sure that we are selling to us the raw materials or the products that we are selling at the highest quality, again, based on their own marketing strategy as well and their reputation. So this is one form of the ownership. Then we can look into merchandise offered. So here we talk about convenience stores, supermarkets, these are chains as well, departmental stores, these are also chains, hypermarkets. You may not see, again, hypermarkets a lot. We see much more hypermarkets in Europe as well. These are markets that are big, like Costco, for example. That's one of the hypermarkets. But Costco is not, it's a franchise, hypermarket franchise, I would say. Then we have specialty stores and we have factory outlets. Okay, so now number 4, we are talking about your course outline for today. How can supply chain management increase efficiency and customer satisfaction? So what is a supply chain? This is a chain through which we supply our customers. Okay, so here you can look into this picture, of course. On the top, we can look into, for example, sales and product development. We can start from there. So what is it exactly? This is, again, sales, and we are going to look into developing different strategies for sales. And we are also going to produce the product. We already looked into this topic in the last lecture, where we're looking into knowing more about what customers they need. And this is where we need to do some market research. We need, again, to do research in order to know what customers they need, what they know about the product, and of course looking into a trend, because maybe there's a need for a product that's not already in the market, but there's a need for that because there's a new technology, because there's some changes in the atmosphere, for example, maybe for the food, something is happening around. So we find out, again, those different factors that are new in our lives, and then we are going to look into, okay, what are the products that, again, people they may need. We may also look into an existing product or existing products that may, and of course, become a competitor for those existing products by looking into, again, doing research, and then to question what is good in these, I would say that's a SWOT analysis. So what is good in the existing products on the market, and how we can make a better product based on surveys or based on research and research analysis that we are going to perform by asking questions from customers and looking into trends that exist already in an existing market. Then procurement is buying. Buying what exactly? And not, of course, the stationery, but also buying the raw materials. Of course, you may see that some products on the market, they may stay for example, a car, for example. You may have a car that you can just keep for 2, 3, no, say 5 years, and you have a car that you can keep for 20 years with not too much repair to pay. This is coming not only from the technology or from the, I would say, the car itself, I would say the technology that is used. It's also the raw materials that are being used in those cars as well. So if you look at a luxury car, if it's expensive, of course, part of that is the marketing strategy, is also giving the look and feel or the perception of the car to people as well. But on the other side, when you buy a more expensive car, for example, you're going to have more options as well that are already included, and you also see that some of these options are really of high quality, because at the very beginning, when we did the procurement or when we purchased the raw materials or when we were purchasing some different pieces that we use in a car from other manufacturers that already provided a very high quality of a product, of course several types of inspections, making sure that they are also providing the high quality products with the high standards. Of course, we have to pay for that. So the procurement is important, and it's also part of the strategy that we use for the marketing, because if you buy low quality products, obviously your final product that you are going to sell in the market will have some type of low quality. It's going to be having a lower quality than other existing products as well. So procurement is extremely important as well. Now the other one is the supplier. So don't forget, we are looking into managing the flow of the product. So the suppliers as well, we need to have suppliers, and those suppliers, we have to choose them as well. Now it also comes from our marketing and sales strategy. Which countries, for example, which cities we are going to have bigger market segments, in which countries we don't have any chance of selling our products, with other areas in different cities, for example, even in which communities we may have, again, the best place in order to choose our suppliers. And this is how, again, we look into managing the suppliers as well, by choosing them. Don't forget that when you have a manufacturing facility, you may not own everything. You may not own your suppliers or your stores. You do have, of course, again, businesses, industrial, that are vertical or horizontal. Obviously, we do have that as well. Horizontal means that they all have, for example, the stores, but all of the raw materials are coming from other firms. Or vertical means that from pre-production up to sales, everything is owned by that corporation or that company. So here for suppliers, again, if we don't own our own suppliers, it may be the case. In this case, we have to choose suppliers in the right places. Then the manufacturing. Here we have to manage also the production of our products. And don't forget that it's not as easy as just starting to, again, to build up on, building a strategy, building a product, and then to say, okay, the product is, we buy the raw materials, we're going to have the suppliers, and then we are going to manufacture that. No, you have competitors, and your competitors are also there, and they are not inactive. Don't forget that. They may be, again, in competition with you, not just with the consumers, but also for the raw materials as well. But now, imagine that they are also in competition with you for buying the same product from, again, another manufacturing facility that is making some, for example, some tires. And, you know, that tire producer does not have an unlimited a number of tires that it can sell. So your competitor may, first of all, buy that entire tire production company, or they may also sign with them a contract so that they will, or the tires, they will be at 90% sent to you, and at 10% they will sell it to other, I would say, manufacturing facilities. So in this case, I would say those who are competing with you are not only competing with you at the sales level, they also compete with you at the suppliers level. If you are a manufacturing facility and you don't have suppliers, because everyone, there is nothing and everything has been already booked or taken by other companies, you don't have too much chance to have a supplier unless you create one. In this case, it's going to change again your marketing strategy as well. Some companies, they do that or not, but these are all different topics that we discuss when we look into the supply chain management. Okay, so I repeat, for the sales and product, what product to develop, or what product, existing product that we can take and we can make it better in order to compete. But then we have to buy raw materials. Do we have enough companies, or do we know enough companies that will give us the raw material that we want with the quality? Yes or no? We may not have it. In this case, we are going to have to be in jeopardy. I mean, the business will be in jeopardy. Now, for the supplies is one thing. Now for the manufacturing, do we have the manufacturing facility? Many of the drugs that you buy, or many of these vitamins that you take, for example, they may not be. I would say the manufacturing facility may not be owned by them. For example, if you look into Moroccan oil, again, this is what we use for, again, I would say for in beauty salons and mainly for the hair. You may not have, again, one exclusive manufacturing facility just for you. You may have one company that is producing Moroccan oil, and then they say, look, if you would like to buy that, you can just tell us the logo, tell us the container, we will buy the container, we are going to create the logos, we are going to create the stickers, we are going to produce the product based on what you want, and then we will sell it to you. However, you don't own that manufacturing facility. So here, what comes into this equation is, again, if you are selling not enough, then it's going to be more costly. If you buy, for example, 20,000 containers every month, in this case, they're going to give you a discount. If you buy 100,000 containers per month, they're going to give you a bigger or better discount. However, can you sell them as well? So there's always a balance between how many you can sell, so how many you can buy. So what would be the, I would say, the type of reduction of the price based on the wholesale or the volume of the sales that you are going to have? Very interesting. And again, now coming back to the supply chain management, when you are selling a product, you need to look into buying, to procurement. You have to look into the suppliers. You have to look into finding manufacturers. Now let's go and talk about the warehouse. If you have your warehouses perfect, but now imagine that you really need to be very rich to have everything. If not, you have to find out places in order to do the warehousing. And warehousing is not just buying a place or, again, getting a place and then to store everything there, because when we are looking into different types of products, we do have different types of regulations. For example, for the drugs or for anything dealing with biotechnology products, again, cosmetics, vaccines, natural products, what else, pharmaceuticals, we are looking into warehouses, of course, and manufacturing facilities where they are good manufacturing or GMP compliant or good manufacturing practice compliant. If we are looking into some other types of products, there are definitely different types of regulations, so you cannot just choose any manufacturing facility or any warehouse for your products, depending on in which country you are going to, again, sell your products as well. Then logistics. First of all, logistics, again, here, these are different, I would say, tools that you may have in order to do the transportation, to the storing, to having a distribution network in different countries. And again, I tell you again, don't forget that maybe in your own country you do know some people. And again, do they accept or not dealing with you? Do they have a network? Can they really handle that? And now you are investing, so you are investing some money, and you have to get some profit in order to be able to expand your business or at least to survive. Now, if you are, for example, having some $10 million, for example, now, and you do have $10 million, equivalent to $10 million of product that you are now sending to different areas in the world, you cannot just stay like that. Those products have to be sold, and you have to get your profit as well, so that you will be able to continue, because you don't have more than $10 million. Okay, you may get some amount of money from banks, but again, it's not unlimited. This is limited. So when we talk about managing the supply chain, this is for itself a huge undertaking, very important, and we have to have plans for that. So this is why we have different products, we have different places where we buy things, we do deal with different suppliers, because if a supplier says no, I cannot handle that, then we have to go to another one. If not, the supply chain just stops. Or manufacturing, if you have two, three places where they make your product, if one of them says we cannot do it anymore because of some reasons, two others are still working. If none of them is working, then your supply chain again is stopped. Warehousing as well, transportation as well. Okay, these are all different things. So that's why we talk about supply chain management. And of course, then within this chain, we also have to deal with consumers, with the promotions, of course, and we also need to have shareholders. Shareholders, they may be people who are, again, having, again, some, I would say, some section, I would say, piece of our capital as well. This may be, again, when you're having a corporation, you may sell shares of your of the capital. You can share your capital with people, but you can also keep your capital but sell shares, so you can have shareholders as well. So those shareholders, they do again own some shares in your corporation, but not the capital. And for that share, if of course we're talking about the stock market here, if you may sometimes give them dividends. It means that you're going to make some profit, and then you're going to pay those shareholders again more, I would say, some revenue, and then you're going to attract more shareholders, so people are going to buy more your stocks on the stock market, so you're going to dispose of more capital as well. And sometimes, no, you don't pay anything, you don't pay any dividend, and just the value and the reputation, of course, of your corporation is going to be higher, and people are going to buy more of your stock because of the value of your again of your capital that you're gaining. Okay, then number 5, what is promotion and what are the key elements of a promotional mix? So promotion is again the way that you're going to talk about your products or your services, and you have to promote it. Now the promotional mix is a set of all of the tools that you use for your promotion. And when we look into the integrated communication strategy, we are talking about having a plan, so a strategy in advance, in order to communicate in an integrated way, meaning that at the same time you use media relations, you use marketing campaigns, you use creative and digital media design, you use trainings, public engagement, market research analysis. Anyway, you use all of these promotional mix, and they are all integrated into one system, one strategy. We call that integrated communications strategy. So one of them again is media relations, meaning it means that you're going to have some relationship that you do build gradually with different types of media. Then one of them is reputation of your firm. Again, what is being published about you, some videos that you made, even if you have maybe sometimes some return or some recall of your products is okay, because you will right away again recall of the products. You're going to pay back your consumers, or you're going to replace the deficient product with a new product, and of course with some gift, for example. But this is how you can manage crisis. So reputation and crisis management, they go hands in hands, and don't be afraid of even having a recall, because you need to have a solid quality assurance department where you will receive complaints. As soon as you have too many complaints based on the trends that you had before, you will be able to look into again having a team, and then we call it a recall committee, and then to decide whether or not doing a recall. And then it may be, now again it may be a community based, it may be a city, it may be again a provincial or state or country or continent, for example. But when you do the recall, not only you are going to help everyone, you are going to prevent harm, but also you are showing to your consumers, that your clients, that you are so well in control of the quality of your products that you found it right away, you recalled everything, and then you replaced everything, so you kept everyone happy. So this is a crisis management that will promote your reputation. And of course, another promotional mix is market research and analytics. This is where, again, I told you, we use market research and, analysis all the time for any type of planning. As soon as you have a business, an activity, you have plans. So as soon as you have those plans that will consist in your strategy, you are going to need to know more about the market, about different trends in the society. So this is normal that you're going to need to do research analysis. So wherever we have strategies and plannings, we have research analysis. Then other parts of the, I would say, other components of the integrated communication strategy may be public engagement, will be training and seminars. Well, through these trainings, it may be free. We talk also about our product or about the seminars as well. We give seminars on our product as well, or sometimes again it may be sole sponsors, so ourselves, we talk about only our product. It may be multiple sponsored trainings or seminars or promotions, where, for example, if these are all of the producers of milk, you don't have only one, we have maybe 200, all of them, they have an association, they pay for some type of advertisement or some type of publicity, and then they are going to, promote their product. The difference between publicity and advertisement is that in advertisement, you pay to promote. For the publicity, you don't pay. It comes from your relationship with the media, with people. It may be even your firm paying for a catastrophe happens somewhere, so your firm is paying for people in order to, again, help them. And this payment is not related to your business, but your business does it. For example, you you send for free 30,000 doses of COVID vaccine to another country or to another community. This is a publicity because it shows that you do care about people. It's not just business, and many firms, they do that as well. So now, coming back to talking about the difference between the publicity and advertisement. Advertisement, again, as I told you, you pay, and publicity you don't pay. It's funny because we say in advertisement you pay, in publicity you pray. But again, this is just building your reputation in a different way. And of course, part of the part of the promotional mix, we can talk about creative and digital media design. They must be emotionally attractive for people. We can talk about marketing and campaigns. And of course, we can talk about social content and digital marketing, where they can go on your e-commerce site, they can look into your catalogs, it's fast, it's secure, they can pay right away, they can look into when they are going to receive their product, they can give you likes, they can put some comments, and this is an e-commerce. So fast, secure, always up to date, easy to buy, easy to look into where your for example, your order is. So this is again the e-commerce. Again, I think I already covered the topic number 11 because this is e-commerce for your for the learning outcome. So it's okay. I'm going to pass that at the end. Then number 6 is how are advertising media selected. Now, first we need to decide on reach, frequency, and impact in order to reach people, in order to use a frequency. For example, when we talk about marketing or advertising, we are saying that, okay, we give a message, but the message has to be repeated. Now, sometimes we repeat the same message, sometimes we repeat with a frequency for the same message, sometimes this message is going to be reworded and then the frequency will change. It's like, for example, one time you show your product with a yellow background and you show this 10 times per day on YouTube, and then the same product, now you have it on the red background as well. In this case, you can now, since the backgrounds are different, you may now put maybe more, I would say, expose more your clients, your potential clients to your product, just to view the face or those pictures without risking to make resistance in people. Don't forget that we do have that as well. We can, even you're making too much advertisement, people, they become resistant. They just change the channel. They don't buy your product anymore. So we have to be careful about the frequency and the impact of our advertisement strategy, because the impact may not be always what we have been expecting. Sometimes it goes against, again, our I would say, our reputation. And then step 2 is to choose among major media types. Again, depending on where you are, what is your market segment, what are your target populations. For example, if you're looking into again doing advertisement of a product which is hearing aid, and you just put that on Instagram, okay, you know very well that you don't have too many elderly population, majority, who are in need of having hearing aid that would go to Instagram. So this is not a good media. So you have to look into where those people, the elderly population, those in need of a hearing aid, are going to look into some information, some movies, or again through those movies or some news, what are those media, and you're going to reach them. So here that was a good example. So you can always again look into the different media, but look first into whether you or not your clients or potential clients are going to see those advertisements. So here again, we do need research in order to see what type of again, which generations, which genders, per instruction level, per ethnicities, per I would say family status, per again city, country, oh my God, religion, faith. There are so many different I would say factors here that will tell us which media is the best. So here we have to look into choosing among major media types. And here again, you can't just have one person coming and saying, look, this is the best one. No, we have to do research for that. And then step number 3, selecting specific media vehicles. And of course, number 4, deciding on media timing. Scheduling, again, same thing. If you're looking into again selling a toy, you have to look into the some research. We'd have to do some research analysis in order to see when the best time kids are watching the again the TV, or maybe not the TV, YouTube, or I don't know, something else, different media, and how you are going to look into reaching those market segments. Now sometimes when you're going to do your analysis of your research, you will see that, oh my God, very interesting, we have 20% of kids who are using one media, 30% another media, 50% another media. In this case, based on the trend, based on what you found, based on the analysis, you're going to help the manufacturing or the firm or your, again, the company that you're working for on a contract, for example. You're going to tell them that you do have 3 market segments, or sorry, you have 1 market segment or 2, and they all have different timing, and you have different timings in order to reach them. So based on my research, I see that we have to decide, again, this specific timing for this specific population, this timing for another specific population, and again, don't forget, everything is based on different factors. Again, parents, how much they earn, where they are working, where they are living, their level of instruction, their family. In some countries, for example, in Northern Europe, many people are alone. They live alone as well, and they do not have too many kids. This is part of their culture. So maybe looking into, again, using the same marketing strategy in where I would say in Montreal may not be the best. I must say to use the same. I would say we cannot use the same if we are in Finland. Okay, so you understand very well, and this is why we need to do research and to do research analysis depending on the market segments, depending on the culture, ethnicities, level of instructions, the age, again, different types of, I would say, factors. I'm not going to go over all, but you have to find it. Okay? Each case is different. But now you're aware of that. This is much more important, to be aware of that. Okay, so now what is a personal selling? Here you would see that in all of the books, everywhere. I'm going to just read that, but I tell you, doing this is not easy. Prospecting and qualifying is the one first for the again for the clients, and then approaching clients. But again, where are you going to find your clients? How are you going to qualify them, knowing that they are able to buy? By looking into statistics, looking into surveys, looking into different sources of information, like Statista is one of them, for example, in Canada, or Statistics Canada. We do have many free reports, statistical reports, but some of those you have to pay $20-$30, but they are worth, because it is so much information inside that you can use. Something else, for example, prospecting and qualifying candidates. You can look into even Post Canada. If you are in Canada, if you look into Post Canada, you will see that they do have different services in order to distribute your catalogs or pamphlets, or I don't know, some type of letter, anything you would like, to any promotional materials, but you have to pay maybe 20, 30, 40 cents per promotional material. But then they will tell you, look into this city. Now, what are you looking at? Are you looking for women, men, kids, elderly populations? Are you looking into this age? Are you looking into families, or people who are again single? What are you going to look at? And then you can even look into each and every I would say area in the city, and then you can see that this building has what percentage this is. These are families of minimum 3 or 4 people. In what other buildings you have much more people who are living, they are single, for example. Now you may even look into different communities. Are they coming from a specific community? Are they coming from a different faith? Are they coming from, again, a different background, professional background? So these are different things that you can do. These are different tools that you can use. And this is, again, I told you, just telling you prospecting and qualifying clients. This is easy to read, but it needs research, looking into trends as well, and then to do analysis. Now, approaching customers, you have different ways to approach them. It may begin through a promotional mix, again, promotional activities. You can do the direct promotion activities or indirect ones. You can use advertisements, or you can use publicity. So we will look into those as well. Then number 3, presenting and demonstrating the product. Depending on what is the product, of course, you cannot bring a car into a house of someone just to say that the car is going fast. So it depends again on what is the type of the product that you have, what is the best way, what the media, of course, to use in order to show, for example, that your car is faster than others, or better than others, or safer than others, through movies, through different demonstrations as well. So if you go to leadership, of course, they tell you, okay, look, the car is here. We can now just go and drive for 10 minutes, and you're going to, appreciate yourself for the quality of the car. But if you are not in a dealership, now, again, the same company building cars is also making some presentations. I'm sure you saw, of course, you saw that on YouTube, for example. Just search for that. For any car that is coming, you do have so many different types of movies. Now, people who chose the car, people who are, again, mechanicians or mechanics who are, again, talking about the car, even the company that is talking about the car, each of them talking about different things, of course. If you go and buy something for the leadership, they start talking about the engine, but mainly about the sound system, about the fact the car is beautiful, it's nice, it's glittering, whatever, because they will see the way that they would like to approach you and to see what are the factors that are going to affect you. So through the demonstration. Is it the price? Is it, again, I would say, if you can buy that, if it's a lease or finance, a percentage of the finance, I would say, or lease, or is it just the car? It will depend. Again, so again, I told you, just for me, staying here and reading, presenting, and demonstrating a product, this is easy. But when you do this is not easy. Again, different factors. And then handling objections, of course, from potential clients, same thing. Closing sales, again, when you're really going to persuade the person that what you're giving them, compared with the money that you're paying for, is worth. And they are, again, here, you need to have, again, some type of course on negotiation skills, where we look into the BATNA, BATNA, where each of us is setting in advance the limits in the negotiation. So the customer who comes, for example, for buying a car, he or she has a limitation for the money. And you, as a salesperson, you also have limitations in order to give as much as you can, but you need to get some profit in this transaction anyways. If not, the car producer or the constructor wouldn't hire you. That's why. So this is again talking about closing sale, but from, qualifying someone, approaching customers, presenting and demonstrating and handling objectives, or responding to the questions, and then of course finishing the closing the sale again, because customer also needs to be able to buy that as well. This is not something easy. And of course, following up sale, it means that we have to continue to keep the customers happy through the surveys, or maybe connecting with them. Sometimes you have even some dealership, they call you, they may not need your car, but they just say, you know what, your car is perfect, if you would like to, we are ready to buy that, you bring it, we are going to evaluate the car. But for you say, oh my god, perfect, I purchased this car 20 years ago, for example, but still they would like to buy that. So it means that I really made a deal. And this is also another type of indirect advertisement, because then you go and talk with your friends, you say, yes, that this dealership, they called me yesterday and they say that we are willing to purchase your car because they are all very good. And it happened to me as well. I have a car as well, and again, the salesperson, I don't know, it was called sales manager, whoever, again, that was a salesperson to me. The person told me that, yes, and then of course he gave me a marketing slogan. He said that these cars are perfect as when they are still on the market, and since we have it for I would say 6 years, 5-6 years, we are really willing to look into your car, so bring it back to us. We would have loved to purchase that from you, and of course to offer you a better model which has the same qualities, perfect, etc. But your car is already perfect as well. And I said, no, but if it's perfect as well, I don't need to change it. I know he wasn't expecting me to say that, okay? But this is a following up sale. Perfect. I know you all have those different types of, it's not just a car, it's everything. These are different strategies that we use in sales, keeping people happy. Now let's go over this in the next slide. In the sales promotion, we do have a sole, again, sponsored and joint sponsored sales promotion. So I gave you an example of the milk, where we have several milk producers, so this is joint sponsored. They can give you coupons, in-store displays. They can give you demonstrations. Of course, you can go to, I don't know, for those who are in Canada, you can go to Costco, or in North America, you can go to Costco, for example, and each and every, of course not now because of the COVID, but when things will be again, when we're going to remove the social isolation, we will see that, yes, we will be having some demonstration. We'll also allow you to taste the milk. And this is how we are going to do the promotion. Or we have a sole promotion. Again, we can give premiums, contests, and sweepstakes. Again, these contests and sweepstakes are perfect because on one side we say we'll give you $50, or we can give you 10, I would say, checks of the $50. However, we are going to have maybe, I don't know, 20,000-30,000 potential customers who will give us their full name, address, everything. Sometimes nowadays we also ask for the age and their address as well. So the company can now, just by giving out $500, they can now get an information with a value of maybe hundreds of, I would say, $10,000, $20,000, for example, maybe more, okay? And of course, we can also look into frequent buyer programs. Again, these are different ways that we promote. So these are all sales promotions. Of course, this is very limited, this graph, this slide. We have much more sales promotion than that. I'm talking about different types as well. Okay, so now for the vehicles, this is what I wanted to again talk about based on the previous slide. We can talk about, again, giving samples, coupons, premiums, consents, refunds, rebates, you see, bonus packs, price off deals, loyalty program, event marketing. For example, I'm sure that you all have a cell phone. They always call you back and say, you know what, thank you so much for being such a good customer. So if you are here, they don't say that, okay, since you are good, we are going to ask you to pay us $20 less. No. They say you pay us $20, $10 more, we're going to give you a better service or a more service that you may not even need necessarily. Okay, but this is how it works. But again, don't forget that companies are here to give services and get to make profit as well. They are also going to expand, and this is always a competition between. Of course, in some countries, you have this open market, and you do have several competitions, which is perfect for the consumers because then prices, they stay low. However, if it's some other countries, you have just one or two distributors only, and they don't allow anyone else to come to the market of that country. Obviously, prices are going to stay high, and people, they have no other options but to buy from one or the other distributor, I would say, or the providers of the services. Of course, for example, for internet now, you know that with what's happening with the internet, internet that is now being offered by satellite, for example, we may be looking into an entire revolution in the internet providing, and on, of course, the cost for the communication. So stay tuned. For now, it's very expensive. You have to buy, I think, a satellite receiver for $500-600 US, and then $75 per month that we pay. But between us, I am personally waiting for doing this investment, because later on all of my communications will be at the cheapest price ever. And companies, again, in my country, any country, that are taking a hold on, I would say, having a supremacy, and of course to control the prices and keeping very high prices, they are not going to be able to, I would say, compete with them as well. Look, I'm against no companies, of course, but what I'm saying is that in any situation, in any transaction, it must be a win-win situation, not just giving you one or two companies. And of course, some those companies, we may have big companies, but they may also buy smaller companies as well. But you know, when you deal with the smaller companies, you're still dealing with the big one. So if you have two companies and they are just playing with the market, you know, creating more companies, smaller companies, satellite companies, I would say, where they're still controlling the price. This is not, to me, this is not really a free market. This is a limited market, and for consumers, this is not good. Again, everything should be win-win situation, not just win and lose situation. Perfect. Now let's go over the functions of a public relation department. So this one, what is it exactly? This is when we are talking about public relations. Why? That's because we talked about promotions. We talked about, I would say, how you will be able to do the publicity as well. And this is also through the public relations as well. So here you can have press relations, product publicity, you can have corporate communication that you can always send out. You also have departments like public affairs. You can also look into lobbying. Lobbying is influencing legislators and government officials to promote or defeat legislation and regulation. You may say, what does it mean? If I did vote for, we have been voting at millions of people for hundreds of I would say, member of parliaments. How is it fair that we do have specific companies that may approach them and then to make decisions that may not be necessarily good for us? Look, I am not here to tell you what is good or bad. This is what is happening. We do have lobbying as well. So we have companies who pay for lobbyists, and those lobbyists, they approach people who write the laws, or these are legislators, and they always look into, of course, the cases must also be a win-win situation for them and for their clients as well. But again, I leave it to you at your, again, I would say, entire judgment, because these are case per case, and I'm not teaching a law course here, even if I would have loved to. But this is just for, I stop here telling you that this is lobbying. Then we can also look into another type of public relation, like employee and investor relation. So this is maintaining positive relationship with employees, shareholders, and others in the financial community. And of course, we also talked about crisis management, so responding to unfavorable publicity or negative event. But again, we always have to focus on the quality management system that we have in our corporation. We always have to be proud of being in full control of the quality of our products as well. So when there is any issue, companies, they do their best in order to find out as soon as possible different complaints based on the systems that they have that register those complaints, and they have to resolve them. But they also look into the trends. Again, they do research analysis. They are looking into the analysis of the trends, And as soon as they see that something is going outside of the normal trend, like having more accidents or having more people who are not happy with the product, then they are going to question this as soon as possible. If a product has to be recalled, it will be recalled because of the regulation that we have. If not, a product has to be changed, or maybe not the price, but maybe I don't know, something in a procedure, in a lot, on a batch, for example, has not been working well. In this case, they do what we call a root cause analysis. They are going to repair the issue, and then they are going to, of course, recall if applicable, some products that are deficient, and then they replace them or they just reimburse. But they are going to show that they are good in crisis management. So even there, it may become, again, when you respond to those issues, it may also become a type of publicity showing that, oh my God, yes, this company, they are really in charge, and they are, even if they had some errors, independent to their will, of course, in this case, they were able to fix it. Then let me go over the next one, which is how does public relations fit into the promotional mix? So here, we talk about media relation, investor relations, government relations, community relations, internal relations, customer relations, and marketing communication. So I already looked into all of these. I also explained to you what's the difference between the advertising and public relations. So I'm going to pass this slide. The other topic that I would like to talk about is mainly the increase in digital advertising. And again, I'm showing you one slide for in the US, of course, as of 2018. This is for the social media. So what is social media? This is a channel of interaction among people, okay, different ways. And how has it changed a promotion? How is that? You can look into, again here, you can look into this, again, I would say that's a type of graph, I would say, or information here. So if you look into, at the bottom, you can look into the magazine revenue is about $20 billion. And now you can see that this is just for 2018. And when you compare this at the top with the online revenue, you see that it's almost, I would say, it's 6 times, 5.5 times less. So it shows, and again, if you were looking to the same again thing in 2013, you wouldn't see that. You would still see that the magazine revenue was a little bit, higher than 20. It would be maybe, I would say, 15, 20 billion. Compared to an online revenue of maybe $30 billion. So it was at the beginning of internet, of course, and having social media as well. But what it shows here is that, again, you have different market segments, different populations, again, different cultures. I'm not going to go into detail with those factors because you already know that. I'm not going to repeat myself. But we do have specific people who will read the magazine. So that's why not everyone, so the magazine revenue is going to be affected based on the country, based on people, based on, again, their age as well, and based on the I would say, the type of your product. Then we have newspaper revenues. Newspapers are a little bit less expensive. They're also, I would say, they are also available. But between us, how many people you see now reading the newspapers, unless they receive it, again, by I would say, every day by mail, or of course if they are really in different sectors where again newspaper is everywhere, and again they just sit somewhere, they have to wait somewhere, or for example they are in the underground or in the metro or in TTC and subway. TTC is in Toronto, a subway, and then they are of course going to look into those newspapers that are usually also free. They are much more, I would say, catalogs that are free, but they also have some information inside. Now, how many of you listen to radio nowadays? Okay, we have been reading. Many people they have been driving, and while driving, they were listening to the radio. But for example, with the COVID and with the lockdown, many people stopped to drive, and hence it also affected their, I would say, the time that they were spending listening to the radio. So again, here you see these are different changes, different factors that have been changed. And we have not been even expecting to have those changes, but this is what happened. Now, TV revenue, how many people you see that they are still, again, watching the TV on cable? We do, but again, look into their age as well, saying that not just the age, again, it depends, again, I'm talking about different types of individuals, different characteristics that they have, different backgrounds that they have, different needs that they have as well. So for people who are doing research, when they do the analysis, they need also to take into consideration all of these factors as well. We do have countries where people are still watching TV, But if we are, for example, in Canada and we are looking into a student community aged between 20 and 25, we know that they are not, they may not, I mean, not at maybe few percent, low percentage, maybe still again watching the TV. They are, the majority of them, they are on internet, looking into YouTube, for example. Perfect. And of course, online revenue. Um, uh, Again, here we have to look into the generations as well. How many of you have seen? I saw, because my mom and dad, they're both they are aged more than 90, 92 and 94, and they are still good. They do emails because they learned the email. They learned also, I mean, WhatsApp. If you look at my mother, she cannot live without WhatsApp, and she's always communicating. This is a social media that she's using. So on Facebook, here on Telegram as well. So these are rare. Obviously, these are exceptions. But usually, if you look into the again different generations, you will see that depending on generations, not everyone is online. Not everyone is, again, they feel online. Many people, they are not. They don't still feel secure to pay online as well. And this is why, again, when we are looking into what to choose, which media for the digital advertising, we are targeting which market segment in which country. Again, we have to look into all of these factors when we are doing our research analysis. And of course, the last slide, I wanted to talk about e-commerce, but I did talk about that as well. So just to know that with e-commerce, again, it's fast. We can also set up stores. Of course, you can look into Walmart, for example. Some stores, they are huge, but of course they need people to update those. But we have them like IKEA as well. Everything, they have different stores, they have different departments. They can also send us newsletters by email if you want. We can also opt not to receive them. They are also exposed on social media, like on Instagram, like on YouTube. There are many places where people, they are still themselves, they advertise for IKEA, for example, without even being paid. So we do have people who are also contributing to that marketing strategy. Of course, we can look into the speed, into the SEO, for the again, for the strategy for, again, having your website when you're searching for something. For example, as soon as you search, your website would be the first. Of course, nowadays, with all of the manipulations that we are having, for me, as soon as I am typing anything, I always see one specific advertisement of one company, for example. And again, so what happens is that I just try to go to places where I know. For example, I go to Walmart, I go to Best Buy, for example, IKEA, and then I search now. So we see that the strategy used by different corporations or different teams, even IT teams, sometimes they change the way that people perceive a tool like Google, like search engines, and sometimes they don't use the traditional way of just typing down a name of a product, because they know that they will always have, I'm not saying junk, but they're going to have only one specific name of a company or of a store, because they paid tens of thousands of dollars to a team in order to play with the SEO, and then as soon as you type anything, that company comes first. So what happens is that we will definitely, first of all, become resistant to the company, because we see this all the time, which is very wrong. And on the other side, we are going to change the way that we are going to navigate on our browsers. So the strategy for SEO, it needs to be changed, but I think it's a bit too late for some countries, because people, they become resistant. Now we can, of course, distribute coupons and discounts. We can also have some campaigns for pay-per-click or PPCs, where people, they click, and of course we can now have some people who are advertising. So they may, for example, go to Google AdSense. That's one of those the places where you can advertise, and you can, again, have pay-per-click or purchase. You can get some money, and then those advertisers are also now being exposed to the promotion and the marketing. So it's like, I would say, with the e-commerce, we affect everyone. It's not just not the clients, but also all of the intermediaries in between us and our clients. And of course, we can have, again, our banners. We can also have the reviews. And this is, again, in a nutshell, I would say, the e-commerce. So I would like to thank you so much for your attendance today. Again, please read the book chapters, and I'm going to see you next week for another lecture. Thank you so much and have a good day. Bye-bye.